Now, name of the circle. You name the circle from the center. All right? The center of the circle is N. So when you name a circle, generally this right here is its name. All right, so what do they mean?
Circle N. It's a circle.
There you go. That's it. Come on. Come on. I know it's not hard. It's obvious and easy. Just reviewing. All right. Now, a chord. Some of you, we haven't really discussed what a chord is. All right. So a chord is simply the endpoints of a segment that are actually on the circle. All right. So we would say, for example, DE, if it was drawn, it's not there drawn, but DE is considered a chord. So bear with me. All right. I could also say that what? EF is a chord. All right. So when the endpoints are on the circle, if you connect that segment, that is considered a chord.
What about CF?
Now, the largest chord is the diameter. The largest possible chord is the diameter. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So DF is considered the diameter, and DF is also considered a chord. Anybody have any questions? And yes, CF is also a chord. All right, so now the diameter here is what? DF. All right, now if you want to identify a radius, remember radius is always half the diameter. So you could have said ND, NE, NF, or NC. And of course, the order in which you list them does not matter. All right, does anybody have any questions on that now? Anybody have any questions? Okay, so now if CN is 8 centimeters, from C to N is 8, what is it from D to N? 8, because they're both what? Radii. If I asked for NF, you would say 8. And if I asked for DF, you would say what? 16. Come on now, please stay with me. Anybody have any questions so far? I know it's complete review, very easy. Now, if EN is 13, what is the diameter of the circle? 26. All right, any questions? All right, now here we go. Let's talk about 5 and 6. The diameters of A, B, and C are 8, 18, and 11. All right, so if the diameter of A, all right, so that means that AF is how much? 4. Now, how much is BA? 9, right? So BF would be what? 5. Then we would say, how much is, how much would B to G be? B to G is still 9, right? So again, 9 from here to here. How much is it for circle C? What's the radius of C? Right, so from here to here is like 5.5. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to understand any of the other distances, but they just asked for F to G. What is the distance from F to G? 14. Is everybody okay with that? FG is 14. FB 5. All right. Yeah, see, it's not hard. All right, anybody have any issues? Any issues? All right, let's check out 7, see what it says. The circular ride described at the beginning of the lesson has a diameter of 44 feet. What is the radius and circumference? Does anybody remember what the formula for circumference was?
Pi r squared.
Now listen, anytime you're dealing with a square, you're talking about area. So pi r squared would be the area of a circle. So the circumference would be pi times the diameter. So I want everybody to write down pi d, or you can write 2 pi r. Now why are those the same? Because twice the radius is the what? The diameter. So you pick the formula that's easiest to use, right? So if the diameter was 44 feet, then the radius would have been what?
22.
22 feet. And then the circumference would be what? I want the exact answer, remember?
Okay.
Circumference would be no. The circumference would be pi times the diameter. What's the diameter?
44.
So the circumference would be what? 44 pi. That's what you would say. 44 pi. We don't have to use a calculator for that. I don't care about rounding. All right, 44 pi. You leave your answer when you get to advanced math. You leave it in terms of pi. All right, now the circumference of the circle is 56.5 feet. So again, circumference is 56.5 feet, correct? So somebody tell me what the diameter would be.
56.5.
Yeah, that's right. You would just simply say the diameter is 56.5 over what? Over pi. Now, of course, that would be the exact answer. All right, now, if somebody asks you for the diameter, right, now take out your calculator. All right, and go ahead and just divide that out for me. And again, the pi button is on your calculator, so everybody needs to make sure you know where the pi button is now on the calculator.
17.99.
So then it's probably meant then it's roughly around what? 18, right? So the diameter of the pool is about what? 18 feet, right? But it says round to the nearest hundredth. So you know I don't really care about rounding. But what would it be rounded to the nearest hundredth just to make sure? 17.98. Is everybody agreeing with that?
Yes.
All right. So logically, to me, it would be better if we just said what? 18 feet.
Yeah.
All right, that would be the reasonable. Nobody's going to build a pool that's 17.98 as the diameter. All right, everybody okay with that? All right, now let's look at the next one. All right, the triangle. Now, it says a right triangle. Now, to me, what they should have done was they should have put the right triangle symbol in here. Agreed? And if I want to find the exact circumference, now remember, exact circumference is, I think, then what they're talking about, that you leave in terms of what? Pi. All right? So, again, let's practice, guys. If this is 4 times 2, and this is 4 times 3, then the diameter, everybody should be able to do the mental math, practice doing the mental math. It would be what? 4 radical. Stop. 4 radical what? No.
Wait, sorry.
Yes, I accept your apology. That was horrible. 4 radical what?
13.
Yeah, 4 radical 13. Come on, everybody's got to be able to do that. I mean that. Look up if you didn't know that. Come on, one more time. The mental math is really important. So here we go. You should recognize right off the bat whenever you're doing Pythagorean theorem that if there is a common factor, pull that common factor out. This is 4 times 2. This is what? 4 times 3. So this has to be 4 times something. Come on now, it's embarrassing. What's 3 squared? What's 2 squared? Today, 9 plus 4 is? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes 12, but today we'll go with 13.
I'm out of it.
All right? Now, that is, in fact, the diameter is 4 radical 13. What is the question calling for? The exact circumference. So the exact circumference would simply be what? 4 radical 13 pi. Very, very simple. 4 radical 13 pi. Anybody have any questions? All right, so now basically what they're saying, if you can answer the first 9, then you should be able to do the rest. But we'll take a quick look. I want to see if I can find something a little bit harder.
36. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. Let's take a look now down here, maybe at, let's say, question number 31. I'll do 31 for you. And let's take a look at 33 just to make sure. All right, it says find the exact circumference of each circle by using the given inscribed. Now, these 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 are just like the SAT type questions. All right, very, very similar. All right, so if I'm looking at 31, what do you think happens if I draw?
It's right, 45, 45, 90.
Absolutely not.
What? It's a right.
It is a right triangle. Thank you very much.
It's 90. So it'd be 45.
It is definitely not isosceles. All you have to do is look at 6 and 8. No, it's not isosceles, but that's different. All right. So now, if 6, 8, we recognize the triple, so the diameter is going to have to be what? 10. Good. Beautiful. Come on, 3, 4, 5. Listen, again, we're going to be using this a lot, so make sure you write this down somewhere. Again, 3, 4, 5. 5, 12, 13, 8, 15, 17, 7, 24, 25. Those are very important. Can save yourself a bunch of time if you remember those triples. All right? You should know those. All right.
I only know 3, 4, 5.
Now, it wants to know the exact circumference. So the circumference here would be what? For 31. 10 pi. Beautiful. 10 pi. Now, 33, some kids thought it was challenging because they're not looking properly. So I want everybody to take a look at 33. Everybody take a look at 33, and I want the circumference of the circle. Thank you, Alessandra. What?
14 pi.
Wow. Alessandra, that was very good.
Voice has changed.
Very good. All right. Why is it 14 pi? Tell us. All right, it's a square. That's 100% correct. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just demonstrate here. Sometimes, listen to me now. Listen to my information I'm trying to tell you right now. Sometimes you can't see the diameter. You should draw it. Or you should draw a radius. All right, until you can match it up. Now, some kids draw it this way. Was that a good way to draw the diameter? No, because it's not easy to see that that's the same as the side of the square. Another way to draw it would be this way. So anytime you're drawing it so it's parallel to the sides, you can see it now. That is in fact the that's the diameter. Therefore, the circumference of that circle is what? The circumference of that circle would be what? 14 pi. That would be 14 pi. All right. Now, if I ask you quickly about 39, another important problem. If the radius is x over 8, the diameter would be what?
2x.
Which is the same as?
X over 4.
Beautiful. X over 4.
I knew that.
Then the circumference would be? This is the important part. What's the circumference?
X over 4 pi.
That's exactly right. Now, I heard some of you say x over 4 pi. I also want you to write x pi over 4. Same thing. Practicing the fractions. Practicing fractions. I mean it. All right, look up. Make sure you're understanding me. All right, that's the important part. Yeah. Honestly, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. All right. So from there, I think you should be fine. All right. I don't think there's a problem. Again, I did post the solutions. Again, I kind of want it on paper because it's easier for me to collect the homework. That's part of it. Plus, I've read another interesting article, and it talked about the fact that the people in Silicon Valley, does everybody know who that is?
Yeah.
All the people that are doing all this information, putting it on the computer, guess where they're sending their kids?
Public.
To schools
Harvard.
that make them work on paper. Shh, listen to what I'm telling you. Why do they send their kids to school where they write on paper? Because they have proven that you get more out by writing it on paper. All right? For whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but writing it on paper puts it into your brain better than writing it on an iPad. You hear me? And so I told your parents at the beginning of the year, we are not going to always use the iPad because I do think it's important. Next year, some of you be going to schools that have iPads and some of you going to where you be writing on paper. I personally think that it is better for you to write on paper. So tomorrow, be prepared. We're writing on paper this week, out of the book. All right, bring paper. All right, I know it's easier. All right, that's part of the problem. All right, I don't want it easy. All right, we want it right on paper. It's much more meaningful. I also read multiple studies saying paper better. All right, so that's what I want you to do. All right, bring the paper. Tomorrow, the next day, whenever we're working on the book, we're going to be working on paper. Whenever we're doing reviews, we'll be using the iPad. Finish up.